Good morning. I want you to stop what you're doing and lean in because this message is for you. Every single day when you wake up, before your feet even hit the floor, before you check your phone, before you let the worries of life settle in, you need to remind yourself of these 9 unshakable truths because life will try to knock you down. People will try to tell you who you are not, and circumstances will try to make you forget whose you are. But today, you're going to start speaking life over yourself. You don't need validation from the world. You are created with purpose, on purpose. Stop looking for approval from people who don't even understand your destiny. Yesterday had its challenges, but you're still here. That means you made it. That means you are stronger than anything that tried to break you. What happened back then cannot hold you back unless you let it. You are not your mistakes. You are not your failures. You are a testimony in the making. God has already equipped you with the strength, the wisdom, and the gifts to succeed. Stop waiting for permission and start using what's already inside you. Fear will keep you stuck, but faith will move mountains. Stop worrying about how it's going to happen and trust that it will. You don't have to beg for love. You don't have to earn love. You were created in love. You are worthy of healthy relationships, of joy, of peace. Don't settle for less. Your words have power. Stop cursing your future with doubt and negativity. Speak blessings. Speak favor. Speak increase. Speak breakthrough. Nobody has it all together. The process is part of the promise. Give yourself grace and keep moving forward. Oh, I need somebody to shout on this one. You may feel tired, you may feel discouraged, but you cannot give up now. You've come too far. There is too much inside you to quit. Keep pressing, keep believing, keep pushing. Your breakthrough is closer than you think. So the next time doubt tries to creep in, the next time the enemy tries to whisper lies, the next time you feel like you can't go on, remember these 9 truths. Speak them, believe them, walk in them. There is something powerful about knowing your worth. When you wake up in the morning and look in the mirror, what do you see? Do you see someone full of purpose? Someone who is fearfully and wonderfully made? Or do you see someone weighed down by past mistakes, by other people's opinions, by fear and self-doubt? I want to tell you something today. You are valuable, you are worthy, and you are enough just as you are. The world may try to convince you that your worth is based on what you have, how you look, or what you've accomplished. Society tells you that if you don't have a certain job, a certain income, a certain relationship, or a certain status, then you don't measure up. But let me tell you something, the world does not determine your worth. You were created with value. You were born with purpose. Your worth is not something that can be given or taken away. It is part of who you are. Too many people spend their lives chasing after validation. They wait for others to affirm them, to tell them they are good enough, smart enough, talented enough. And if they don't hear it, they start to believe they are not enough. But here's the truth. You will never find true worth in other people's opinions. If you rely on the world to validate you, you will always be chasing something that changes. One day people love you, the next day they don't. One day they praise you, the next day they criticize you. If your confidence is based on their words, then your confidence will always be shaky. Think about a $100 bill. If I crumple it up, step on it, or throw it in the dirt, is it still worth $100? Yes. Its value doesn't change because of what it's been through. And the same goes for you. Your worth does not decrease because of what you have faced. Your mistakes don't lower your value. Your past does not define you. Your circumstances do not determine your identity. You are still valuable. You are still worthy. You are still enough. It is time to stop waiting for permission to see yourself as valuable. You don't need anyone else's approval to walk in confidence. You don't need anyone else's validation to know that you matter. You were created with greatness inside of you. Some of you have been walking around feeling small because of what people have said to you. Maybe someone told you that you weren't good enough, that you would never succeed, that you weren't special. And somewhere along the way, you started believing those lies. But today, I need you to reject every lie that has ever been spoken over you. You are not a failure. You are not forgotten. You are not insignificant. You are powerful, strong, and full of potential. When you truly believe in your worth, everything about you changes. The way you walk, the way you talk, the way you carry yourself, it all shifts. You stop settling for less than you deserve. You stop allowing people to mistreat you. You stop letting fear hold you back, because when you know your worth, you operate from a place of confidence, not insecurity. One of the biggest things that steal our sense of worth is comparison. You scroll through social media and see someone with a bigger house, a nicer car, a happier relationship, and suddenly you start feeling like you don't measure up. But let me tell you something. Their success does not diminish yours. Their blessings do not take away from what God has for you. You have your own unique journey. You have your own purpose. And what is meant for you will not pass you by. Stop looking to the left and to the right and focus on your path. The only person you need to be better than is the person you were yesterday. It's easy to feel worthy when life is going well. But what about when everything falls apart? What about when you lose your job, when your relationship fails, when you feel like you're struggling just to keep your head above water? In those moments, you have to remind yourself that your worth is not based on your circumstances. Just because you're going through a hard time doesn't mean you are less valuable. Just because things aren't working out right now doesn't mean you are not worthy of good things. Your worth is constant. Whether you are on the mountaintop or in the valley, you are still enough. When you believe in your worth, you stop tolerating toxic relationships. You no longer allow people to treat you poorly because you know you deserve respect. When you believe in your worth, you chase after your dreams with boldness. You stop doubting yourself and start walking in faith. When you believe in your worth, you take care of yourself. You prioritize your mental, emotional, and physical well-being because you know you are valuable. You don't have to wait until you reach a certain level of success to feel worthy. You are worthy right now in this moment, just as you are. If you have spent years doubting yourself, it's time to reprogram your mind. Start speaking life over yourself every single day. The more you affirm your worth, the more you will believe it. And when you believe it, you will start walking in it. I want you to take a moment and truly let this sink in. You are valuable, not because of what you do, not because of what you have, but because of who you are. Stop looking for validation in the wrong places. Stop comparing yourself to others. Stop believing the lies that tell you that you are not enough. It's time to walk boldly in your words. Stand tall. Hold your head high. Know that you were created with purpose, and nothing can take that away from you. Every day that you wake up, every step that you take, every battle that you fight, it all adds up to your transformation. But too often we focus so much on how far we have left to go that we fail to see how far we have already come. Today, I want you to pause for a moment and acknowledge your growth. Take a deep breath and reflect, not on your failures, not on your shortcomings, but on the progress you have made. Because whether you realize it or not, you have grown. You are not the same person you were last year. You are not even the same person you were last month. Life has stretched you, challenged you, and refined you, and through it all, you have become stronger, wiser, and better. We live in a world that glorifies the finish line but rarely celebrates the journey. Society teaches us that success is about reaching a certain level, achieving a certain milestone, or obtaining a certain status. But what about the small victories? What about the silent battles you've won? The lessons you've learned and the fears you've overcome. Think about the things that used to break you, the things that used to shake your confidence, that used to steal your peace, that used to make you question yourself. Now look at you. You have endured, you have adapted, you have kept moving forward. That is growth. Maybe there was a time when criticism would crush you, but now you can take it in stride. Maybe there was a season where rejection would make you question your worth, but now you understand that closed doors are redirections, not rejections. Maybe there was a moment when you felt like giving up, but you pushed through anyway. That is growth. You may not be where you want to be yet, but you are no longer where you used to be, and that is something to celebrate. One of the biggest reasons people fail to acknowledge their growth is because growth is not always loud. It doesn't always announce itself with a grand parade. Sometimes growth happens in the quiet moments, in the unseen struggles, in the silent decisions you make to be better. Think about a tree. When a seed is planted, it spends weeks, even months, developing roots underground before you ever see a sprout. Just because you don't see instant results doesn't mean progress isn't happening. The strongest growth happens beneath the surface. There are times when you may feel like you are stuck, like you are not making any progress at all. But I promise you, if you have been showing up, if you have been learning, if you have been working on yourself, then you have been growing. Your roots are getting deeper, your foundation is getting stronger, your breakthrough is coming. Not all growth is comfortable. In fact, some of the greatest transformations happen through pain. There are lessons you would have never learned if life had not forced you to. There is strength you would have never discovered if you were not pushed to your limit. Think back to some of the hardest seasons of your life, the moments where you felt lost, broken, or completely out of control. At the time, it may have felt like those moments were destroying you, but look at you now. You made it through. You came out on the other side with wisdom, with resilience, with a new level of strength. A butterfly does not become a butterfly without the struggle of breaking free from its cocoon. A diamond is not formed without pressure. Gold is not purified without fire. So if you are in a season where you feel stretched, tested, or challenged, I want you to shift your perspective. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Start asking, what is this teaching me? Because even in the pain, there is growth happening. A lot of people measure growth by external success, by promotions, by wealth, by accolades. But real growth is not just about what you have achieved. It is about who you are becoming. These are the things that matter, because at the end of the day, it is not about what you acquire, but about the kind of person you become in the process. If you are more kind, more courageous, more disciplined than you used to be, then you are growing. And that kind of growth is more valuable than any trophy, title, or paycheck. One of the biggest mistakes people make is rushing past their victories without acknowledging them. You accomplish something, and instead of celebrating, you will immediately move on to the next goal. Did you get out of bed today when you felt like giving up? Celebrate that. Did you set a boundary and stick to it? Celebrate that. Did you take a step outside of your comfort zone? Celebrate that. Did you choose peace over reacting in anger? Celebrate that. Stop waiting for someone else to applaud you. Applaud yourself. Stop waiting for permission to be proud of yourself. Give yourself credit for how far you have come. The truth is, growth is a lifelong journey. You never arrive. There is always another level, another lesson, another opportunity to become better. And that is the beauty of life. You are always evolving, you are always becoming, you are always moving forward. But in the midst of it all, don't forget to pause and appreciate the growth that has already taken place. Don't be so focused on the destination that you miss the transformation happening along the way. You have grown in ways you don't even realize. You have overcome battles that once seemed impossible. You have developed strength that you never knew you had. And keep growing, keep learning, keep becoming the best version of yourself. Because your story is not over. Your best days are still ahead of you. Hold on to the past or step boldly into your future. And let me tell you, you cannot fully embrace what is ahead of you if you are still carrying the weight of what is behind you. Too many people are shackled by yesterday. They are stuck in memories of pain, regret, betrayal, and disappointment. Their hearts are heavy with the burdens of what should have been, what could have been, and what never was. But I want to tell you today, it is time to let go. You were not created to live in the past. You were not meant to carry yesterday's baggage into today. If you are constantly looking backward, you will never move forward. I know it's not easy. I know the past has a way of whispering in your ear, reminding you of everything you did wrong, every mistake you made, every time someone hurt you. But hear me when I say this. You do not have to be a prisoner to your past. You have the power to release it. One of the hardest things to accept in life is that no matter how much you dwell on the past, you cannot change it. What's done is done. And as painful as that truth may be, there is also freedom in it. Because if you cannot change the past, then why let it control you? Regret will keep you in bondage. It will have you replaying old conversations, revisiting past relationships, and reliving moments that no longer serve you. But no amount of regret can change what has already happened. What you can do is learn from it, grow from it, take the lessons and move forward, but do not stay stuck. A big part of letting go of the past is forgiveness. And I know this is where it gets tough. Some of you are holding on to things that happened years ago. Someone wronged you. Someone betrayed you. Someone hurt you so deeply that the wound still feels fresh. But listen to me. Holding on to that pain is not punishing them. It is punishing you. Unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. It keeps you trapped in bitterness. It weighs you down with anger and resentment. It steals your peace. Some of you are your own worst critic. You have been carrying guilt over things you cannot undo. Maybe you made bad decisions. Maybe you hurt people. Maybe you made choices that led to consequences you wish you could escape. At some point, you have to extend grace to yourself. You have to acknowledge that you were doing the best you could with what you knew at the time. And even if you could have done better, you cannot go back and change it now. So instead of punishing yourself, choose to grow from it. Choose to become wiser, stronger, and better because of it. Forgive. Not because they deserve it, not because you deserve it, but because you deserve peace. There's some things that God has already pulled you out of, but you keep running back to them in your mind. Maybe it was a toxic relationship. Maybe it was a situation that drained you. Maybe it was a season of struggle that you barely survived. And instead of moving forward, you keep revisiting it, thinking about what you lost, what could have been, or how things might have turned out differently. But let me ask you this. Why are you still giving power to something that no longer has control over you? The past is over, the chapter is closed. And if God saw fit to remove you from it, then trust that He has something better ahead. Imagine driving a car but only looking in the rearview mirror. How far do you think you'd get? You'd crash, you'd miss every turn, you'd never reach your destination. The same thing happens in life. If you are constantly focused on the past, you will miss what is right in front of you. You will miss opportunities, relationships, and experiences that are meant to take you to the next level. Your future is waiting for you. Your purpose is calling, but you cannot step into your next season if you are still tied to your last one. I won't lie to you. Letting go is a process. It won't happen overnight. But here's what you can do. You don't have to pretend like things didn't happen, but you also don't have to keep reliving them. Accept what was and choose to move on. Instead of asking, why did this happen to me? Ask, what did this teach me? Growth comes from perspective. Your words have power. Stop speaking about your past like it still defines you. Declare over yourself, if the people around you keep bringing up your past, it may be time to reevaluate who you allow in your space. Be around people who see where you are going, not just where you have been. Letting go of the past is not about forgetting. It's about refusing to let it control you. It's about choosing peace over pain, healing over hurt, and freedom over fear. I don't know what you've been through. I don't know what battles you've fought. But I do know this, your past does not define you. You are not what happened to you. You are not your mistakes. You are not your failures. You are a warrior. You are an overcomer. You are stronger than your past. So today, make the choice, release it, let go of the weight, the guilt, the pain, and step boldly into the future that is waiting for you, waiting for more resources, waiting for a better opportunity. But let me tell you something. You don't need what you don't have to start. You already have what you need to begin. Life is not about what you lack. It's about what you do with what's already in your hands. Some of the most successful, most impactful, most powerful people did not start with abundance. They started with what they had, right where they were, and they made it work. But too often we fall into the trap of comparison. We look at what others have, their talent, their wealth, their connections, and we convince ourselves that we are not enough. We think, if only I had more money, if only I had more support, if only I had more time. But hear me today, you have exactly what you need to take your next step. One of the greatest mistakes people make is overlooking what they already have. We get so focused on what we lack that we fail to see the potential in what is right in front of us. Think about the resources, skills, and experiences you already possess. You might not have millions in the bank, but you have a gift. You might not have the connections you wish you had, but you have a passion. You might not have the perfect circumstances, but you have a mindset that refuses to quit. Look at history. Some of the most inspiring figures didn't start with much, but they took what they had and made it into something great. A single mother working 2 jobs to provide for her children, she's using what she has. An entrepreneur starting a business from a small kitchen table, he's using what he has. A dreamer who doesn't have money but has determination, that is enough. The question is not, what do you lack? The question is, what are you doing with what you have? Let's be real. It's easy to make excuses. It's easy to say, I'll start when I have more time. I'll try when I have more money. I'll believe in myself when people support me. But here's the hard truth. If you don't start now, you probably never will. If you keep waiting for the perfect moment, you will be waiting forever. If you keep waiting for the stars to align, life will pass you by. You don't need perfect conditions to begin. You just need faith, effort, and a willingness to use what is already in your hands. Excuses will rob you of your destiny. Fear will paralyze you. Procrastination will steal your opportunities, but action will change everything. Some of the greatest businesses started with little to nothing. Some of the most influential voices started with no audience. Some of the most powerful movements started with a single step of faith. You don't need to be rich. You don't need to be famous. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be willing to start. Stop wishing for more. Maximize what you have. A lot of people spend their lives wishing instead of working. But are you managing what you have wisely? They say, I wish I had more opportunities, but are you fully using the ones you already have? They say, I wish someone would support me, but are you believing in yourself enough to take the first step alone? You don't need more to begin. You just need to do more with what you already have. There is someone who is doing more with less than you. There is someone who is taking small resources and making them work. There is someone who is not waiting for the perfect opportunity. They are creating it. Never despise small beginnings. Never look down on starting small, because every big thing started small. The biggest businesses in the world started in garages and basements. The greatest athletes started in empty fields and backyard courts. The most inspiring leaders started with nothing but a dream and a relentless spirit. Your small beginning is not a setback, it is a set up. It is preparing you for greater. Use what you have. Develop what you've been given. Work what's in your hands and trust that as you grow, more will come. Using what you have is not just about physical resources. It is about your mindset. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you believe you are lacking, you will stay stuck. You can have all the potential, but if you constantly compare yourself to others, you will never move forward. What you do with the little will determine whether you are entrusted with more. If you are careless with what you have now, why would you be given more? Greatness is not about how much you have. It is about what you do with what you have. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is going to do it for you. You have to make the choice to use what is in your hands right now. You are more equipped than you realize. You are more capable than you know. Everything you need to take the next step is already within you. Are you going to keep waiting, keep doubting, keep making excuses, or are you going to rise up, take what you have, and make the most of it? Your future is not waiting on someone else to give you more. It is waiting on you to use what you already have. No more waiting. No more excuses. No more focusing on what you lack. It's time to shift your mindset. It's time to step into your power. It's time to use what is in your hands, because what you have is enough. And when you start using it, you will be amazed at how doors begin to open, opportunities begin to appear, and new resources begin to flow your way. So today, right now, use what you have. Work what's in your hand and watch how your life begins to transform. One path is paved with certainty, comfort, and predictability, while the other is clouded with mystery, challenge, and the unknown. It is in that moment that a decision must be made. Will you walk in faith, or will you remain where you are? Faith is not about having all the answers. It is not about seeing every step clearly before you take it. Faith is about stepping forward even when you don't know where the road leads. Faith is about trusting that something greater is at work, even when your eyes can't see it. Far too many people live trapped by fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. They want guarantees before they move. They want assurance before they act. But let me tell you something. Faith doesn't work that way. Faith is about movement. It is about walking when there is no evidence that the path will hold you up. Every single day, you have the choice to believe or to doubt. You have the choice to trust or to hesitate. You have the choice to step forward or to stay where you are. Some of you are waiting for a sign. You're waiting for everything to line up perfectly. You're waiting for some miraculous moment where everything makes sense. But hear me. The sign is already within you. The fact that you are still here, the fact that there is something in your spirit telling you that there is more is your sign. You don't need another confirmation. You don't need more proof. You just need to choose to walk in faith. One of the hardest things about faith is that it often requires you to move before you see the results. It requires you to believe before there is evidence. Faith is stepping out on the water when you don't know if it will hold you. Faith is starting the business when you don't know where the customers will come from. Faith is believing in your dreams when nothing in your life looks like they will happen. If you could see everything clearly, it wouldn't be faith, it would be certainty. And certainty does not produce growth. Certainty does not require trust. Certainty does not stretch you into becoming the person you were meant to be. Faith stretches you. Faith challenges you. Faith demands that you let go of control and trust that what is meant for you will find you. Fear tells you to stay where you are because stepping forward is risky. Fear tells you to play it safe because failure is possible. Fear whispers, what if it doesn't work out? What if you fall? What if you're not good enough? But here's the truth. Fear and faith cannot occupy the same space. You must choose which one will guide you. Will you listen to fear and remain in the same place year after year? Or will you silence the doubt and step forward, even with shaking hands and uncertain steps? One of the hardest lessons to learn about faith is that it does not always produce instant results. Faith requires patience. Some of you have been walking in faith, but you haven't seen the breakthrough yet. You've been praying, believing, and trusting, but nothing seems to be happening. And you're starting to wonder, is it even worth it? But hear me. Just because you don't see movement does not mean nothing is happening. Think about a seed planted in the ground. For weeks, even months, you see nothing, but beneath the soil, something is growing. The roots are forming. The foundation is being built. And one day, after much time and patience, that seed breaks through the surface and begins to flourish. That is how faith works. Just because you don't see immediate results does not mean your faith is in vain. Something is happening beneath the surface. Your prayers are being heard. Your efforts are not wasted. Your breakthrough is coming. Sometimes faith means stepping out into something new. Sometimes faith means holding on when you feel like letting go. Sometimes faith means releasing control and allowing things to unfold in ways you didn't expect. You will not always understand why things happen the way they do. You will not always see the bigger picture, but faith says, I trust that everything is working for my good, even when I don't understand it. Maybe you lost something or someone you thought you couldn't live without. Maybe you faced a setback that knocked you down. Maybe you're in a season where nothing makes sense. Faith says, even though I don't understand, I will trust. Faith says, even though it hurts, I believe something better is ahead. Faith says, even though I can't see the way, I know the way is being made. Faith is not passive. Faith is not just sitting back and hoping things will change. You cannot say you have faith for a new job but never apply. You cannot say you have faith for a breakthrough but never take steps toward it. You cannot say you have faith for a better future but refuse to change your mindset and habits. When you walk in faith, you move forward, even if it's slow, even if it's uncertain, even if you don't have everything figured out. You take the step. And when you take that step, you will see doors open. You will see ways being made. You will see how everything is aligning for your good. The life you are meant to live, the dreams in your heart, the purpose on your life will require faith. You cannot reach your destiny if you are too afraid to step forward. You cannot experience the fullness of life if you are waiting for certainty before you move. Every great person you admire had to take a leap of faith at some point. Every success story began with uncertainty, but unwavering belief. Every breakthrough required someone to say, I don't know how, but I believe it will happen. Walking in faith is not always easy. It will stretch you. It will test you. It will require patience, courage, and trust. But if you choose faith over fear, if you choose to step forward, even when you don't have all the answers, you will experience a life beyond what you ever imagined. So today, make the choice. Walk in faith. Take the step. Trust the process. And watch how everything begins to fall into place. Because when you walk in faith, the impossible becomes possible. There is a truth so powerful, so life-changing, that if you fully grasped it, it would transform the way you see yourself, the way you walk through life, and the way you handle every storm that comes your way. And that truth is this: you are loved. Not because of what you do, not because of what you achieve, not because of how perfectly you perform or how much you impress people. You are loved simply because you exist. Too many people go through life searching for love in all the wrong places. They try to earn it, chase it, and sometimes even beg for it. They think if they could just be a little better, a little more successful, a little more attractive, a little more perfect, then maybe, just maybe, they will finally be loved the way they long to be. But hear me today. You don't have to earn love. You don't have to strive for it. You don't have to fight for it. Because love, the real, deep, unwavering kind, is already yours. It has always been yours. One of the greatest lies people believe is that love is conditional. That if they mess up, if they make mistakes, if they fall short, then love will be taken away from them. Maybe you grew up feeling like love had to be earned. Maybe you had to prove yourself, always striving to be good enough, always trying to be perfect so that you could feel accepted. Maybe you've carried that mindset into your relationships, always feeling like you have to perform to be worthy of love. Love sees you at your worst and still chooses you. Love knows your flaws and doesn't walk away. Love is not based on how well you perform, but on who you are at your core. You don't have to have it all together to be loved. You don't have to meet some impossible standard to be worthy of love. You are loved exactly as you are, right now, in this moment. So many people live their lives desperately trying to be lovable. They think that if they achieve enough, if they become successful enough, if they prove their worth, then maybe someone will finally love them the way they desire. But real love is not a transaction. It is not something you have to earn. It is a gift. Imagine a child being born into the world. That child has done nothing to earn love. They haven't achieved anything. They haven't proven anything. They haven't performed. Yet the moment they enter the world, they are deeply, fiercely loved. You are not loved because you are successful. You are not loved because you are talented. You are not loved because you meet everyone's expectations. And that means that no failure, no mistake, no shortcoming can take that love away from you. Some people fear that love is temporary, that is something that comes and goes, that if they mess up, they will lose it. It does not break the moment you fall short. It does not disappear when you make a mistake. It does not fade just because you are struggling. Real love stands firm. It is steady. It does not waver with the ups and downs of life. And that means you can stop walking on eggshells. You can stop living in fear that one wrong move will make you unlovable. You can stop carrying the weight of perfection, thinking that if you slip, love will slip away with you. There are people who feel like they are unworthy of love because of their past. They carry shame, regret, and guilt, thinking that the things they've done disqualify them from love. But listen to me. There's nothing in your past that can make you unworthy of love. Love does not look at your mistakes and turn away. Love does not see your failures and decide you are unworthy. Love sees you fully, your flaws, your imperfections, your broken places, and chooses you anyway. There is nothing so broken in you that love cannot heal. There is no mistake so big that love cannot cover it. There is no failure so great that love cannot redeem it. You are loved despite your past. You are loved in the middle of your mess. You are loved right now as you are. Too often we base our sense of worth and love on how people treat us. If people accept us, we feel loved. If people reject us, we feel unworthy. If people praise us, we feel valuable. If people criticize us, we feel like we don't matter. Some people will not see your worth, but that does not mean you are not worthy. Some people will not appreciate you, but that does not mean you are not valuable. Some people will walk away, but that does not mean you are unlovable. People's actions do not determine your worth. Love is bigger than human opinions. It is greater than the temporary affections of people who come and go. Do not let someone's inability to love you make you believe that you are not lovable. You are. Love does not just comfort you, it also calls you to rise. When you truly know that you are loved, you begin to walk differently. You begin to carry yourself with confidence. You stop settling for less than you deserve. You stop letting people mistreat you. You stop allowing fear and insecurity to rule your life. Love gives you strength. Love gives you courage. Love gives you the confidence to walk in who you truly are. When you know you are loved, you stop looking for validation in all the wrong places. When you know you are loved, you stop chasing after things that do not serve you. When you know you are loved, you start living with boldness, knowing that your worth is already established. There is nothing you can do to make yourself more loved. There is nothing you can do to make yourself less loved. Rest in the truth that you are loved. Walk in the confidence that you are loved. Live in the freedom that you are loved. Because when you truly know that you are loved, everything about your life begins to change. Every single day, with every sentence you speak, you are shaping the world around you. You are either building yourself up or tearing yourself down. You are either speaking life or inviting negativity into your space. What you say does not just reflect what's in your heart. It creates the reality you live in. Too many people sabotage their own success, peace, and joy because of the words they allow to come out of their mouths. They declare defeat before they even try. They complain about their lives instead of speaking solutions. They criticize themselves instead of encouraging their own hearts. But if you want to see a shift in your life, you must first shift the way you speak. Your words have the power to transform your mindset, your emotions, and even the outcomes of your life. You cannot afford to speak negativity over yourself. You cannot afford to let doubt, fear, or insecurity take control of your tongue. You must learn to speak positivity, not just once in a while, but every single day in every situation. You don't just experience the world, you create it with your words. Have you ever noticed that negative people always seem to attract more problems? It's not just coincidence. They are constantly speaking negativity over their own lives, and as a result, they draw more negativity to themselves. On the other hand, people who consistently speak positively, even in the face of difficulty, seem to have more peace, more joy, and more favor. It's not because their lives are easier. It's because their words create an environment of possibility. What you focus on, you magnify. What you speak, you attract. What you declare, you empower. If you wake up every morning and say, today is going to be terrible, you have already decided that your day will be filled with frustration. If you constantly say, I'm not good enough, you will start acting like someone who is unworthy. If you always declare, nothing ever works out for me, you will begin to notice only the things that go wrong. But if you wake up and say, today is filled with opportunity, you will find open doors where others see obstacles. If you declare, I am capable, I am strong, I am worthy, you will carry yourself with confidence. If you proclaim good things are coming my way, you will begin to see possibilities that others overlook. You have the power to shift the atmosphere of your life simply by shifting your words. Your words can either be a weapon that destroys or a tool that builds. How often do you criticize yourself? How often do you focus on what you lack rather than what you have? How often do you say things like, I'm not smart enough, I'll never succeed, I always mess things up? Every time you say those things, you are reinforcing negativity in your own mind. You are programming yourself to fail before you even begin. But what if you changed your language? What if instead of speaking defeat, you started speaking life? I have everything I need to succeed. I am resilient and I will overcome this. Every challenge is an opportunity for me to rise. Do you feel the difference? One set of words drains you, discourages you, and diminishes your power. The other set empowers you, lifts you up, and sets you on a path of success. You must choose your words carefully. You must train yourself to speak life, not death. It is not enough to simply think positive thoughts. You must speak them. Your voice has power. When you declare something out loud, you are reinforcing it in your spirit. I am healthy, strong, and full of energy. I am walking in purpose and making a difference. I am surrounded by love, peace, and abundance. Even when challenges come, do not let negativity take over your words. When you face difficulties, say your words are seeds. If you plant negativity, you will reap frustration, anxiety, and defeat. But if you plant words of faith, confidence, and positivity, you will see growth, strength, and victory in your life. Your words do not just impact you, they impact everyone around you. Too often, people tear others down with their words without realizing the damage they are doing. They criticize, complain, and speak negativity over their friends, family, and co-workers. But just as your words have the power to build you up, they also have the power to lift up others. Speak words of kindness, affirmation, and appreciation. Remind people of their worth and potential. Instead of saying, you always mess things up, say, I believe in you, and I know you can do this. Instead of complaining, nothing ever goes right in this family, say, we are strong and we will overcome any challenge together. Instead of criticizing, you're never going to change, say, I see your effort and I appreciate you. When you speak positivity into others, you create an environment where they can thrive. If you want to live with more joy, speak joy. If you want to walk in confidence, if you want to experience more success, speak success. Stop waiting for your circumstances to change before you change your words. Start speaking the life you want and watch how things begin to shift. You have a choice. Every single day you can choose to speak words that lift you up or words that tear you down. You can choose to speak faith or fear. You can choose to declare positivity or reinforce negativity. Do not let careless words keep you trapped in a cycle of frustration and defeat. Be intentional with what you say. Let your words be full of hope, strength, and encouragement, because when you speak positivity, you invite light, joy, and success into your life. Life is a journey filled with highs and lows, victories and struggles, moments of joy and times of deep challenge. But through it all, One of the most important things you can do for yourself is to give yourself grace. Too often, we are our own harshest critics. We set high expectations for ourselves, and when we fall short, we dwell on our mistakes. We replay our failures, judge our weaknesses, and struggle to move past the things we feel we should have done better. But let me tell you something. You were never meant to be perfect. You were never meant to get everything right all the time. Growth is messy. Progress takes time, and transformation does not happen overnight. If you do not learn to extend grace to yourself, you will spend your life trapped in a cycle of self-condemnation, frustration, and discouragement. Giving yourself grace means learning to forgive yourself for your mistakes, accept yourself in your imperfect moments, and be patient with your own growth. It means treating yourself with the same kindness and compassion that you would offer to someone you love. It means allowing yourself the space to learn, to stumble, and to rise again without carrying the weight of shame and regret. One of the biggest lies people believe is that their mistakes define them. They think that one failure, one bad decision, or one wrong turn disqualifies them from success, happiness, or purpose. You may have failed, but you are not a failure. You may have made bad choices, but you are not a bad person. You may have fallen short, but you are still worthy of love, success, and a fresh start. Your mistakes are a part of your story, but they are not the end of your story. Every great person who has ever accomplished something meaningful has failed along the way. What separates those who rise from those who remain stuck is their ability to give themselves grace, learn from their past, and keep moving forward. So let go of the shame. Release the guilt. Stop punishing yourself for things you cannot change. Instead, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? Then take that wisdom and keep moving forward. Many people put impossible pressure on themselves to be perfect. They feel like they have to have everything figured out, never make mistakes, and always be at their best. But that is not realistic, and it is not how life works. Perfection is an illusion. It is a moving target that no one can ever reach. And when you chase perfection, you set yourself up for a lifetime of disappointment and self-criticism. You do not have to be perfect, you just have to be growing. You do not have to have it all together, you just have to be taking steps forward. You do not have to meet every expectation, you just have to show up and do your best. Give yourself the same grace you would give to a child learning to walk. When a baby takes their first steps and falls, do you get mad at them? Do you criticize them for not getting it right the first time? No. You cheer them on, encourage them, and celebrate the fact that they are learning. When you stumble, when you struggle, when you fall short, remind yourself, I am learning, I am growing, I am becoming better every day. That is enough. How often do you criticize yourself? How often do you focus on what you did wrong rather than what you did right? Many people have a habit of being too hard on themselves. They speak to themselves in ways they would never speak to another person. They magnify their flaws, replay their failures, and talk down to themselves. But let me ask you this. Would you talk to your best friend the way you talk to yourself? Would you tell your best friend that they are not good enough? Would you remind them of all their failures? Would you make them feel like they are unworthy of love and grace? No! You would encourage them. You would remind them of their strengths. You would speak words that build them up. It is time to start treating yourself with the same kindness and compassion that you offer to others. It is time to start speaking to yourself with love. Instead of criticizing yourself, say, I am doing my best, and that is enough. I am worthy of love and grace even when I make mistakes. I am growing, and every step forward counts. I will not let my past define me. I am becoming stronger every day. Words have power. The way you speak to yourself shapes the way you see yourself. If you want to build confidence, peace, and resilience, start by speaking grace over your own life. Nobody has it all figured out. No one has reached a point where they are completely done growing, learning, or evolving. Every single person is still a work in progress, and that includes you. If you are struggling right now, that does not mean you will struggle forever. If you are making mistakes, that does not mean you are failing. It means you are learning. If you are not where you want to be, that does not mean you will never get there. It just means you are on the journey. Celebrate the progress you have already made. Honor the steps you have already taken. Recognize that you are growing in ways you may not even see yet. You may not be where you want to be, but you are not where you used to be. And that matters. One of the biggest reasons people stay stuck is because they do not give themselves grace. They hold on to guilt, shame, and regret, and those things keep them from moving forward. When you give yourself grace, you let go of the weight of past mistakes. When you give yourself grace, you release unrealistic expectations. When you give yourself grace, you stop being your own worst enemy and start being your own biggest supporter. And when that happens, you begin to move forward with confidence, joy, and peace. Giving yourself grace is not about making excuses. It is about giving yourself permission to be human. It is about recognizing that mistakes do not define you, imperfections do not disqualify you, and growth takes time. You are not meant to live in shame. You are not meant to carry the burden of perfection. You are not meant to be your own worst critic. So today, make a choice. Let go of self-judgment. Release the weight of past mistakes. Speak to yourself with kindness. Give yourself the same grace that you so freely give to others. Because when you give yourself grace, you give yourself the freedom to grow, to heal, and to step into the fullness of who you were always meant to be.